November favorites, and it's going to be the last favorites video of 2021 because after this, I'm going to be doing my best in beauty for the year of 2021. I cannot believe that this year is over, and I cannot believe I'm filming my last favorites video already. I feel like this year just flew by. I cannot believe how fast it went. Like, I am kind of shocked on how fast everything went. I think it's just because we were just trying to put 2020 behind us with all the lockdowns and everything. That like 2021 was just kind of like rapid fire. Like, you know, a lot of stuff was happening in 2021. And I think that's why we all just kind of, you know, realized that this year just kind of just, you know, came and went. I really feel like it was just Thanksgiving, and then I feel like it was just Halloween. Like, I cannot believe how fast this year went, and I'm just kind of mind blown. So anyway, we are going to talk about some products that I have been absolutely loving. These products have become some of my favorite products. I keep on going back to them constantly. I mean, I always do that with new products, but honestly, I genuinely really love these products, and I can't wait to share them with you guys. So let's start off with a couple of eyeshadow palettes. The first one is going to be the Natasha Denona Retro palette. I'm sure you guys figured I was going to talk about this one, but I do think that this palette is really pretty. This was my first palette that I decided to get from Natasha Denona in a couple of years. I haven't picked up any palettes from Natasha Denona since summer of 2019. I just wasn't really, I mean, I was drawn to the Glam palette and the Bronze palette, but this one really spoke to me with the color story, and I just thought that this was such a unique story, with the warm tones and the berry tones and the red tones, like the deep wine colors. It's just such a pretty palette. And I really have been enjoying this one a lot. Honestly, if you want to try Natasha Denona, I would go for the $65 palettes. It's crazy, like, how different some people's opinions are of each of her palettes. Some people prefer, like, the $130 palettes. Some people prefer the $230 palettes. Some people prefer the 5 pans, and then some people prefer these. I personally won't spend any more than this price, which is $65, and I think that you get a really good bang for your buck with these palettes. Honestly, I wouldn't see the point of buying any bigger palettes than this. I don't really need the bigger pans, honestly. I do have the gold palette, but that palette I really do love, and it's one of my favorite palettes. But anyway, I think this palette is gorgeous, and I'm wearing this palette today. I did a relatively simple look, but I just wanted like a sparkle on the lid and just like a mauve-y crease. So I used the shade Nude Mauve in my crease. Then I darkened up the crease more with Andy. And then I just took the shade Psychedelic and just put it all over my lid just to add that really pretty sparkle. And honestly, this color has so many beautiful like multi-dimensional sparkles in it. It has like blue and purple and pink. It's just so pretty, and like lilac. And then for my brow bone, I went in with the shade MOD. And then I just used the shade Glitz on the inner corners, and that's all I did for my look. And I've tried all the shades in here, and honestly, I love all of them. I think they all perform wonderfully together. I really love the cream to powder formula of Andy and Vivian. I think all the shimmers are beautiful. I really love the shade Helio and Jude and Glitz. Those are probably my 3 favorites. And then I love like these deeper wine tone colors with like these like warmer tone, deeper like orangey burnt orange colors. And I'm loving this palette. I think it's beautiful, and I highly recommend it if you haven't tried it and you want to go for Natasha Denona and this is a color story that you like. I think the only shade that I'm not really like in love with is this shade Vivian. I don't think this shade is honestly necessary. I kind of wish they would have put like kind of like an icy pink color that was similar to Glitz in like a matte shade. And then I feel like this palette would have been so perfect. I mean, yes, this looks amazing together, but I just think that this shade is so light. It barely even shows up on me. and it shows up basically as like a transition shade, but you can like barely see. I mean, yes, as a transition shade, but since it's like the cream to powder formula, it's even harder to build up. If it was like a regular powder formula, I feel like it would be a little bit easier. I mean, not that the cream to powder is a hard formula to use, but I just think it's just too light in this shade. But other than that, all the other shades are wonderful, and I just think they're so pretty and in love. In love. I mean, this palette's gorgeous. I mean, I love Natasha Denona's formula. So let's just swatch a couple of shades for you guys, and then we'll move on. So we have Helio. Jesus. Let me not drop the palette. No, we have Jude, Helio, and Amara. So those are some of the shades for you guys. Those two shimmers. Look at how multi-dimensional her shimmers, like, reflects. Like, you don't get that a lot with certain palettes. I mean, there's some shimmers that are just stunning, but the way that her shimmers reflect, it's something else. That's the special thing about Natasha Denona. But also, her mattes are wonderful. You can't really forget about her mattes. I mean, a lot of people are like, the shimmers are amazing, but her mattes are amazing too. So, and honestly, besides Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath, I don't really go for other mainstream brands anymore in Sephora because they're the only two that have like the best formula. Like everybody else, like, why is it we have to pay this high price tag for good eyeshadow when we can just go to Colourpop or another indie brand and they do it so much better? But Natasha Denona is definitely worth it, in my opinion anyway. I know there are a lot of polarizing opinions, but as far as they both go, I think that they're both worth trying. I think that you should invest in a palette that you really love, because if you invest in it at one point, I mean, yes, they're expensive, but there's Afterpay, there's other ways. There's also, Pat McGrath is actually doing an amazing sale on her holiday collection right now, 40% off her holiday collection. So you can get the highlighter for $35, and the big palette I think is like $45, $50 right now, which is a great price for all of those shades. So go check out that sale. Okay, so let's move on to another palette that I've been loving lately, and that is the Gourmand Girls That Time of Year palette by my beautiful sisters, Debutante, Riri, and Xenia. So this palette is just been one of my go-tos this past month. I definitely got to whip it out and use it a little bit more this past month, and because I just had so many different palettes the last couple of months, but since I haven't gotten a new palette in a few weeks besides the Natasha Denona, I've been able to rotate some more palettes in my collection, and it's so beautiful. Like, the sparkly, shimmery duochrome shades in here are stunning. I almost wore this palette today with like some of the purples and then twinkling lights all over the lid, but I decided just to go with a simple look for Natasha Denona because honestly, I wasn't sure how long I was going to be out today. And then I ended up being out a lot longer than I thought, but I still really liked how this look turned out. But it's just stunning. I mean, like, the shades speak for themselves. The formula is amazing. Every shade is pigmented and beautiful. You can't go wrong with Gourmand Girls. Christina is just one of the sweetest souls ever, and it's just made by some of the most amazing people ever, and I just love them all to death. And they created an amazing Christmas palette, and I am going to be using this like crazy this month because this is the month that this palette is supposed to be thriving in, but you can use it at any time of the year. But it's just beautiful. I can't wait to do, I'm going to do like a green look with these two shades. I can't wait. So let me just swatch some of the shades for you. Oh my god, they're just all so pretty. Let's just do a couple shades. We're not going to be here forever swatching every single palette. But look at that. Look at how bright that green is. That is so fluorescent in person, not just on camera. Like, it's just stunning. Stunning. I mean, the shades, some of the shades do develop a little bit of hard pan, but look how they swatch. I mean, it doesn't matter. Look how they sparkle. That one is Silver Bells. The next one is the Feels, and the last one is Evergreen. They just get a little bit of it on the outside because of the duochrome shimmer formula. They are very sparkly and very wet on the lid. So, I use my fingers, probably the oils from my fingers that are just making the pan a little bit hard. If you use a brush, you probably don't get that, but for me, I always use my finger. But if I just swirl it around in the pan, it goes on beautifully. So yeah, I've been loving this palette. I can't say anything else about it. It's stunning, and I can't wait to do more looks with it. But I'm also going to be receiving the Rudolph palette from Colorpop, which I'm also going to be using a ton during the month of December. So I'm probably just going to be rotating my few Christmas palettes that I have this whole month, basically. So yeah, love this palette. Can't go wrong with it, and I highly recommend that you try this out. So yeah, love that. Then the next palette that I wanted to mention that I didn't really get to use too much last month, and I still haven't really used it too often this month. I've honestly only been able to use it one other time. But this palette, I already know, is amazing. This is the Wednesday Cosmetics Blood Moon palette. Oh my god. I wasn't sure if I was going to get this palette because I'm like, I don't know how much I'm actually going to use it. But boy, when I do use it, it is stunning. And it's so inexpensive that I'm like, I just want to support a good indie brand. And Brie is amazing. And I just think that this color story is so unique and beautiful. And you can do so much with this 10-pan palette. I look at this and I get so inspired to do different color combos. I want to do a blue look. I want to do a red and blue look. I want to do an orange and red and purple look. I want to do another red look. There's so much you can do with this palette. You can do in orange and black with this on the lid. There's so many different possibilities that you can do with this palette, and I love it. And I did upload a amazing group collab with Debutante and Brie, and we did an amazing group collab for Brie's amazing palette, and it was really, really fun to do. I haven't been part of a big group collab like that for quite a while. And it was just fun to go back and do that again. So I'm going to swatch a couple of the shades for you guys. Oh my god. I need to use this Celestial shade on my lid. So this one is oh my god, I'm going to butcher the names. Oh my god. I was about to say my friend Becca, because I saw my friend Becca earlier today. Debbie told me that I butchered all the names in the collab video, so I'm going to do that again. Sorry. So we have Selenology, Celestial, and Penumbra. So I think it's only the Selenology shade that I'm mispronouncing, but look at those. Look at that blue and that red. Holy bejesus. The pigment. Look at that. Look at that freaking red. Oops. Look what I just did. I wanted to give the the blue a better swatch, and I accidentally swatched it over the red, but you saw how pretty that is. But look at that blue too. So the red, sorry I messed it up, is Penumbra Selenology. And then the shimmer is Celestial. Look at that. Look at that beautiful duochrome. I'm so excited I'm spitting. But seriously, I cannot wait to dive into this palette more. I might do a Christmas red type of look with, I have to. I'm definitely going to. But I'm going to whip this palette again out again, this week. Because I think I finally tried all the shades I needed to and all the palettes that I've gotten. That I can actually probably use this palette maybe at least once, definitely this month, but hopefully maybe twice at least, because I really want to try the other shimmers in this palette. So it's such a pretty palette, and I can't wait to dive into it again. I just haven't really had a chance to. I really wanted to use that time of year palette as much as I could this past month, because I didn't really get to dive into it too much last month. I did, but then I got to use it quite a bit this past month. And then the last two palettes. These palettes are my favorite everyday palettes that I've tried this year. Hint, hint. for my best in beauty, but just saying. I got to whip them out and use them again this past month, and the Beauty Bay Fiery 16 color palette. Oh my god. This quality for the price is unreal. Beauty Bay's formula has blown my socks off. I literally am obsessed with this palette. I actually wore this as my Thanksgiving palette this year. I usually use the Pinky Rose Center Stage palette, and I'm like, this palette is so Thanksgiving to me, and I loved it. I loved how the looks turned out. I wore it the day before Thanksgiving, and then I wore it on Thanksgiving, and I love this palette. It's just so good. The mattes are amazing, and the shimmers are just stunning. I don't know how Beauty Bay does it. This palette is $10. $10. And it's amazing. And there's 16, I mean, like, why would you, I mean, even people that don't like Colorpop, why would you go for anything else? Like, this is like the amazing. I can't get over how good this is. Like, I know we all have different preferences, but boy, I don't know why I keep on saying boy like I'm like 50 million years old, but I can't get over the quality of this for the price. That's why it's so good. Every single shade in here is good. Like, there's not one dud. They all blend beautifully together. Honestly, the blendability and the pigmentation, I can't get over it for the price. Look at that. That one is Hot Sauce. This one is Adorn. And then this one is Power Trip. Just stunning. Look at that, how that matte swatched. I mean, that's ridiculous how good that is. I mean, that's just as good as Wednesday Cosmetics. I mean, Wednesday Cosmetics is amazing too. But seriously, if you've been thinking about Beauty Bay and trying them, I highly suggest it. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. The quality, I was like, where have I been my whole life? This literally just blew me away. I love it so much. So, as you can tell, I like it. So, okay. And then the last palette is the Colourpop Lust for Dusk palette. I love this palette so much, you guys. This is one of Colourpop's best palettes they've ever done. Like, there's something about this one. I love it. It's so good. And it's the way that, like, these shimmers sparkle. They just have such beautiful, like, multi-dimensional glitters to them. And then the mattes are all so good and they blend beautifully. I just think that this is, like, I mean, like, most of their collections this year have been so generic. And if it's not a collab palette, I didn't pick it up unless it was a palette that I wanted from the year before. But honestly, there really was no palettes that I picked up from Colourpop this year that wasn't a collab palette that came out this year. And all the palette besides this one is the only one I was interested in that wasn't a collab palette that came out this past year. All the other ones I got, like the Baroque, the Ornate, the Wine and Only, those all came out last year, and those were all palettes that were on my list from last year that I ended up picking up this year. But this is the only one I picked up that came out this year. And I love it. I love the combination of the warm tones and the cool tones together. They all just work so beautifully. The only thing I would say, I mean, like, honestly, you probably don't even need it. I probably would have put, like, one more, like, pinky shade in here. But other than that, all the shades work beautifully together. And the reason why I love this palette so much is that it has all of these really beautiful, like, deepening shades in here. And that's, like, what some Colourpop palettes are lacking sometimes, are these beautiful, deep, smoky tones. And they do them really nicely. Like, this beautiful, like, bluish gray shade called Twilight. This shade called Served Chilled is, like, a beautiful, plummy, muted purple. And then the last one is That's Heat. That's Neat. And it's this beautiful, like, deep chocolatey brown with sparkles in it, but it's so pretty. And it deepens up any of the looks that you do, because you guys know I love deepening up any look with chocolatey toned browns. I just need to check my phone really quick. But yeah, seriously gorgeous. I mean, I love these shades. I mean, and the sparkle in the shimmers, chef's kiss. Like, just beautiful. And they're like literally like wet. Like, are you joking me? Like, Colourpop, why don't you do this for more of your palettes? Like, this quality reminds me of like the palettes that came out last year, like the Wine and Only, the Ornate and Baroque, all beautiful. I think that the collab palettes were good this year, and I enjoyed the quality of most of them, but at the same time, I think that the quality of the eyeshadows last year were better than this year's, to be honest. And I also think that their palette releases were way better last year than this year. There was some collabs that they really dropped the ball on. But we'll get into that when I do my Colourpop countdown. And then I guess we'll swatch this shade, because we're not going to be sitting here forever agonizing on which shades I'm... But like, you can't even see on camera how much they reflect in person. They're so pretty. Oh, I swatched a lot of eyeshadow, you guys. So there are some of the shades right here. So pretty. That one is Shaken, that one is Mood Lighting, and that one is Miser. I mean, they're just so beautiful. They reflect just as well as just as good as the Natasha Denona. So beautiful. Love this palette. Can't say anything else about it. I was finally able to use it a little bit more this past month, because I hadn't really used it since I had gotten it the month that I did, like, the month that I received it. And originally I was going to give this away to you guys, and then I loved it so much that I picked up another one from Ulta for you guys to give away, because I ended up trying this one out that I ordered, and I was like, I loved it so much that I decided to keep one for myself, and then I gave away another one. Okay, so that is all the eyeshadow palettes I have to talk about. Trust me, we're not going to be rambling for that much longer, because we should be able to get through the rest of the stuff pretty quickly. So just give me a second so I can wipe off these swatches. Okay, sorry. I'm just like makeup wipe central right now. But yes, I will end up using the Blood Moon palette a little bit more. But there were so many palettes that I wanted to use again this past month that just, it didn't fall into the rotation. But I'm definitely going to use it this month. Okay, so for the next products, let's do foundation. So first off, I just have to mention this one again. I mean, you guys know I love this foundation, but I've been using it nonstop since I got it from the Sephora VIB sale. And I just wanted to mention my Lancome Teint Idol Ultra Wear Oxynoxate Sunscreen Foundation in the shade 090. I think I finally found my right shade in this. Because every time I get matched to a shade for this in the store, they always give me a shade that's like 2 steps darker than this one. Like, the first time I got matched to this, I think it was like 200 Buff Ivory, and it was way too dark for me. And then the time before that, I think I got matched to like 105, and that one was definitely a better match, but I think this one is definitely my shade. I think I asked someone to match me to this one, and they were like, yeah, this is your shade. So, and I love it. I just love this foundation. It looks so amazing on the skin, and I'm surprised that this doesn't expire until July of 2023. I think I'll definitely use it up before then, but that's a long-ass time. Like, I remember the last time I repurchased this, and then I returned it because literally I think I had bought it like right before COVID started, and then when everything was locking down, I was like, I'm really not going to be wearing like long wear foundation since I didn't really go anywhere besides seeing my boyfriend because we couldn't go anywhere. I ended up returning it, and I remember that one expired like 6 months after I had bought it. So I'm really surprised that this one lasts way longer. Anyway, this is like one of my holy grail foundations. I love it so much. I just love Lancome's complexion products. They're just like hidden gems in Sephora. I think, who turned me on to this foundation? I can't remember if it was Nikki Tutorials or Nicole Guerrero. I don't remember who it was. But someone raved about this and I was like, I'm going to try it. And then once I tried it, I'm like, I love it. And this is my 3rd bottle of it. So I just wasn't interested in trying any other new foundations. I was like, I want my baby back. I missed this in my collection and I love it. So I'm just so happy I repurchased it again. And then this guy is so beautiful. The tinted moisturizer I've been absolutely loving is the Tower 28 SPF 30 Sunny Days Broad Spectrum SPF 30 tinted sunscreen in the shade 05 Fairfax. Oh my god, this is so beautiful on the skin. This performs like a lightweight foundation. It doesn't have like that sticky tackiness like or like thickness that like most tinted moisturizers do. Honestly, I've been really impressed with most of the tinted moisturizers or like skin tints that I've tried this year, honestly. I mean, it was a huge trend this year, but most of them I really did love. But this one is so good. Like, I think that this is just as good as the NYX Bear With Me one. I almost think that they're very similar to each other. I think this one's a little bit more glowy, though. The NYX Bear With Me, I love that one, too. But this is just, it covers beautifully. It gives your skin such a beautiful glow, but it's not, like, too shiny. It just makes your skin look so healthy. And it covers so nicely. Like, it's very liquidy, but when you blend it out, it's just like it covers so nicely. And it doesn't have like that weird stickiness that like most tinted moisturizers do. Like, it doesn't feel like there's a ton of sunscreen in it. It just looks beautiful. So I love this. And I've been using it so much. I love it. Okay, and then the concealer I've been loving is the, again, from Lancome. But again, Lancome just kills it. This is the Lancome Taint Idol Ultra Wear All Over Concealer in the shade. I believe this is the lightest shade, which is 100, which is Ivory Neutral. Oh my god. This is very light coverage, but when you build it up, like, you do have to add like 2 layers to it. This blends out faster than any other concealer I've ever used. Like, 2 seconds, it's blended. I don't know how they did it. It dissolves right into the skin as soon as you touch your sponge to it. It's like, boop, and it's done. Like, literally, if I just tap my nose, it's already blended out. Like, it literally takes no time. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, it's just so good. And I feel like it has a beautiful, like, blurring effect. Especially on the face. It just looks so beautiful with the foundation. I mean, these are just a match made in heaven for me. I love both of them together. And holding them next to each other, the foundation looks lighter than the concealer, but I kind of like that, and they both look beautiful together. So, because sometimes I don't love my concealer to be like super white and brightening since the foundation's already pretty bright. But again, just love these together. So yeah, I've just been using this a lot and I love it. Okay, and then 2 mascaras that I've been obsessed with, and I can't put either of these down. The first one is the Colourpop Level Up Lengthening Mascara. Colourpop's mascaras are so underrated because they release so much crap, so much stuff, that they're like hidden gem products, like they're good products, get so lost in the mix. This is so good. Like, one of the best mascaras I've ever tried this year. So amazing. It lengthens so beautifully. It curls your lashes beautifully, but it gives you intense length and separation. I've been obsessed with this, and I've been using it so much. I also think it's because of the shape of the wand, and it's just so good. I've been loving it. So, yeah, it's really good. So, love that. Let me just see if my mom texted me. It does have a wetter formula than the next mascara I'm talking about, but it dries really quickly. But the next one I've been loving as well, and this is the Patrick Ta Major Volume Mascara. I'm actually wearing the Rare Beauty Mascara today, and I still love this one. This one gives me really nice separation and length. Oh, but this one's really good too. This one definitely has a drier formula than the Rare Beauty and the Colorpop. But this gives me really beautiful separation and not as much length, but I really like the separation and the curl that it gives. It's really beautiful, and this coats the lashes so nicely. And I think that this is a really, really nice buildable mascara. It doesn't really clump too much at all. I mean, sometimes mascaras you can't avoid the clumping, but I just like separate it with my fingers. But I also think that this mascara is so good to put on like at the end of the day. Like if I want to refresh my makeup to film, it's like one of the only mascaras that will build up and it won't like clump up. And I find like with some mascaras, if I do that at the end of the day, it'll like be really dry and like hard to build up. But that one doesn't do that. Sorry, I thought my mom was talking to me. Okay, so just a few more products left. So let's just talk about some blushes. And honestly, the 3 blushes that I've been obsessed with were the 3 blushes that I picked up from the Sephora VIB sale. I have been wearing them non-stop. I think my favorite one out of the 3 is the Makeup by Mario blush in the shade Creamy Peach. This is so beautiful on the cheeks. It has such a beautiful blendable pigmented formula, and it's so buttery on the skin. And it's such a pretty color, but it's so super soft when you touch it. But it's not like super soft that it doesn't have like good pigmentation, because it builds up really nicely. And I kind of like these 3 blushes because they have more of like a buildable formula rather than being like super pigmented. Because again, like with blushes, sometimes you don't always want them to be like, oh my god, pigmented as hell. Because like it doesn't give you a chance to like build up the colors. Kind of just looks like it smacked you in the face. So sometimes you have to go in with like a really light hand, or you're just going to be like, wow, like this is a lot of blush and I didn't want to put on that much. This is so beautiful. I highly recommend trying his cheek products. I think that they're so good. I love the highlighter, and the blush is also gorgeous too. And then the other one is the Laura Mercier Blush Infusion Blush Color Infusion in the shade Bellini. And this is so pretty too. This again has such a beautiful, soft, buttery formula, and this is so beautiful on the cheeks. I'm so glad that I tried that one too. It's much lighter than the Makeup by Mario, but it's just such a beautiful everyday color, and I've been loving this too. Been wearing it so much. It's so funny because I said I've been wearing them nonstop, and meanwhile I'm wearing a pinky blush today, but it's okay. And then the last one is the Lawless blush. And this is the Make Me Blush Velvet Blush in the shade Angel Suede. Again, peachy color. This one has a little bit more of like a reddish undertone. I mean, the Makeup by Mario is definitely the most different shade and the most vibrant out of the 3. That one's up here. And then this is the Laura Mercier, and this one's the Lawless. And this one has like a really pretty like warm peachy undertone to it, but the Makeup by Mario is even warmer and more pigmented. But this one is a really pretty, beautiful, velvety, buildable formula on the skin as well. So all 3 of these I recommend 100%. They're all beautiful formulas, and I'm so excited that I tried all of those. And then we just have 2 highlighters. I'm just going to mention the ones that I tried from the VIB sale because I haven't really picked up any new highlighters or used too many highlighters that consistently. I've been using this one a ton though. So this is the Ilia Daylight Highlighting Powder in the shade Decades. Oh my god, this is so pretty on the skin. I love it so much. Look at how pretty this color is. It's such a gorgeous like gold color. Like, you guys know I'm a sucker for gold highlighters, but this is just such a stunning undertone of gold. Look how pretty. It reminds me a lot of like Becca's Shimmering Skin Perfector formula. It's just so soft and pretty on the skin. It gives you the like beautiful like glow, but it's intense, but it's not like, oh my god, like blinding. It's just really beautiful. So I've been enjoying that so much, and I'm so glad I picked that up finally because it's been on my wish list for a long time, and it's really pretty. And then this, I actually picked up the individual one during Black Friday sales. But I did try it out in my first impressions of my Sephora products, so I am going to share it with you because it's just the individual version of the same one that I tried in my Sephora first impressions video from the VIB sale, because I actually ended up returning that palette because it just didn't work out for me. And I ended up buying the lighter version, but there was no point of keeping it because I already had the 2 full-size blushes in my collection. So I just bought the highlighter and returned the palette because I was like, I don't really need to keep this. And I didn't really want to sell the full sizes of the 2 blushes that I already owned because I use them so often. And I got a really good deal on them using my Sephora rewards from my credit card. So anyway, this is the... Let's just tell the whole story, Caitlin. This is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Divine Glow Highlighter in the shade Golden Nectar. Holy bejesus, this is intense. And I have to go in with a very light hand with this because this almost is too dark for me. So I have to go in very lightly with it, but it is stunning. You really don't need too much of it at all. And it just builds up beautifully, and it's so buttery smooth on the skin. Oh, it's so gorgeous. I'm so glad I finally tried a Pat McGrath highlighter. I did get 25% off of this, but now I'm kind of annoyed because Pat McGrath has an even better sale on her holiday collection now. That lunar highlighter that's $60 in the holiday collection is now half price. Or like a little bit more than half price. It's like $35 instead of $60. And I was like, I'm kind of mad that I didn't wait to get it. I'm a little bit salty about that. I'm a little bit annoyed at brands that do that because it's like, it's kind of not fair to the consumer because you think you're getting a good deal for Black Friday sales and then you just put your holiday collection on sale right after Black Friday. So for people that picked up that stuff during Black Friday, they would have gotten an even better discount if they just would have waited till after Black Friday. So I kind of don't like that about Pat McGrath. I don't think that was very cool to do. I don't know. It's just a little bit messed up. Nobody wants to pay $60 for a highlighter, Pat McGrath. You got to lower your prices a little bit. Maybe like $50, $49 maybe. So anyway, I just was a little bit salty about that. I don't think that's really that right, to be honest. Like, Pat McGrath is expensive, and when people can get it for a discount, it's going to sell out. She knows it's going to sell out. So why not just put it on a special kind of promo? Like, make it like $40 so people don't think they're being like that gypped. Like, I don't know. It's just a little bit messed up to me. She's a huge company. Like, it's not like she really has to do that to us. She sells herself. She's Pat McGrath. So I don't know. Whatever. So anyway, we just have 3 lip products left. Speaking of Pat McGrath, I'm also going to mention the lip liner that I picked up. Yes, I am sharing this before I hauled it, but I can't put this lip liner down, so I really wanted to mention it. So this is the Permagel Ultra Lip Pencil in the shade Structure. I honestly really wanted to try Contour, but Contour is always sold out. So I decided to pick up this shade from the Divine Rose collection. And this came out with the blush and the highlight that I just mentioned. And honestly, I was like, what is the hype about Pat McGrath lip liners? Like, you know, people can just get good lip liners at the drugstore. But oh my god, I'm so happy I tried at least one. These glide on your lips. They are so buttery, but they're not slippery. They just glide on, and they're so pigmented, but they just glide on so nicely. Like, they don't skip at all like a wooden pencil from MAC would. They're just so good. So I'm so happy I tried it, and I really like the shade that I picked. It's a really pretty, like, warm toned nude color. And then I just wanted to mention 3 lipsticks. The first one is the Gucci matte lipstick that I got from the Sephora sale. And this one is in the shade Penny Beige. And I did take a couple of tries to find, you know, a good shade that I wanted from Gucci. And honestly, I was almost inclined to not keep this. But then Mary told me how much she liked this shade on me when I wore it in the first impressions video. This does have a very strong perfumey scent to it. But this one has a much, I mean, look at that color first off. And look how pigmented that is. It's beautiful. It's such a pretty nude shade. But for me, I do like warmer tone nudes on myself. I don't normally wear like super cool tone nudes like this. But it looks so pretty with like the warm toned looks that I've been doing with the Natasha Denona Retro palette. And I've worn this a ton this past month. It's just been my go-to nude color. And it's beautiful. And then my go-to pink color has been the Bite Beauty Power Matte Lip Crayon in the shade Sugarcane. Oh my god, this is so good, you guys. It is a little bit strongly scented, so you can taste it a little bit. But Bite Beauty is food grade. Is a food grade lip product. And these are just so good. Like, I have been reaching for this constantly whenever I want a pinky nude color. It's beautiful, super pigmented. I love it. And then the last lip color, I really need to go because I need to watch something with my mom. I made her wait for me last night, so I don't want to make her wait again tonight. But this is so good. I was almost inclined to pick up another one during the Sephora VIB sale. But I decided to just get the Gucci shade. Sorry. I wanted to get a nude shade from the Power Matte Lip Crayons, but I decided to hold off because I got the Gucci lipstick. And then the last lippy I wanted to mention is Gourmand Girls Nikki's Nude Lipstick. Oh my god. This has been my other go-to pink shade. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in my last favorites video because I hadn't hauled it yet, but it's been like another month and I'm still waiting for like another 2 orders to come in so I can film my haul video. And since this is my last favorites video for this year, I really wanted to mention this. And it's stunning. Look how pigmented that is. And it's just such a gorgeous color. Now I realize why this color is always sold out, because it's just gorgeous. It's like the perfect nude color. And then I also wanted to mention her blush really quick in the shade Shock. I don't know if I mentioned this in my last favorites video, but these blushes are so good, and I used this so much for Halloween. Oh my god, so good. And then the last product is a skincare product, and I've just been obsessed with this. I've been using this ever since I ran out of my CeraVe Night Moisturizer. I had a sample of this for my birthday gift from Sephora, and I've been obsessed with it. This is the Laneige Water Bank Moisture Cream Night Moisturizer. Oh my god, this is so good, you guys. And it smells amazing, but it literally feels like your skin is getting a drink of water. There are so many moisturizers that like claim to be moisturizing and like really hydrating, but this one actually is those things, because like some of them can still be very thick and not really like hydrate that well. Like, I love the Ole Henriksen and the CeraVe, but this one actually feels like it's hydrating my skin. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CPW819 and check out my Poshmark at the same handle. I always screw that up every time, at CPW819. Please let me know what your favorites were for this past month, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of December, because we are not going to be doing any favorites video until the Best in Beauty in January, which I cannot believe we're already going to be doing. There's going to be like 6 videos, so I just want to explain it really quick. I'm going to be doing a separate video for all the Colorpop palettes I picked up this year, because I picked up 11 palettes, so I figured that would be better just to rank in its own separate video, because those were the most palettes I picked up from one brand. And then I will rank the rest of the palettes that I picked up this year in another video. And then I'll do cheek products, highlighters, blushes, and like bronzers, and then I'll do face products, which are foundations, concealers, and powders. And then I will do eye products like lip eyeliners, mascaras, etc. And then the last category will be lip products like lipsticks, lip glosses, etc. So yeah, I love you guys. Bye. Okay, so hey guys, I know it's a different day, but I just wanted to mention these other two products before I posted my favorites video, because this is the last favorites video of the year, so I wanted to make sure that I talked about everything that I have been loving. And I wanted to mention the Nightmare Before Christmas collection from Colorpop. I really have been enjoying this palette quite a bit. Why didn't I turn the light on? So you can actually see me. So this is the Nightmare palette, and I really like this palette a lot. I think that the mattes in here blend out really beautifully, and I think that the shimmers in here are very pretty. I think that this is probably one of their best collab palettes this year, to be honest, because this one is way more cohesive, and there are deepening mattes in here that make the looks more smoky, or just make them like a little bit more grungy. Like the Lizzie McGuire and the Powerpuff, they were very light toned, and I like that this is darker toned, and I really have been liking it every time I use it. I've been using it quite a bit, and it's just so pretty. I really have been liking this one. There's no shade in here that I wish was in here every time I use it. I think that the shades work beautifully together, and I really, really like it. I don't know. It's just a little bit annoying that there's like these pinks in here, but because I don't really see pink in Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, we don't really see pink in the movie, to be honest. And some people are saying the reason why the pink's in here is because of Sally's dress, but Sally's dress is only really pink in like Halloween costumes, and on the back of this packaging, her dress is on the she's on the packaging, and you can see the pink there. But in the actual movie, her dress is like a darker tone, much darker tone color. Sorry, I just woke up like 20 minutes ago. I haven't had my coffee yet. But here's some shades for you. So we have Pumpkin Patch, Christmas Town, and Sandy Claus. So those are three of the shades. Really, really pretty. I've been loving every single one every time I use them. I think that this palette performs really well, and I think that this is one of the better collab palettes that they came out with, because the quality is really, really good. And I think the color story, this is probably the best Disney color story they came out with this year, besides the Tinkerbell one. But I like that this has the black and the like gray tone color in here, because it really does deepen up every single look. I feel like with the Tinkerbell palette, I have to go into like another shade, like a brown tone, just to deepen it up more. So, and then I wanted to mention the Oogie Boogie lipstick. You guys know how much I love the Colourpop Luxe lipsticks, and I'm always looking for like my perfect nude in the Luxe lipsticks. This is just such a pretty, like, warm toned, almost pinkish nude, and it's so pretty. And I just think that they have perfected this formula. I mean, I've always loved it, but I think that every time they come out with a new lipstick in their style, they just nail it, and it's just one of the best formulas. I just can't get enough of this formula. I've also been loving the Matte X formula, the lip creams, and the glossy lip stains, but I talked about all of those last month. So yeah, that's pretty much it, and I'm sorry I forgot to include it earlier. I just didn't think that this favorites video was going to be so long. But yeah, that's it. Bye.